Larry, what's up, dude?
That's hilarious. What's up, champ? How you doing?
What's happening, man? What's happening?
For sure, man. So here's my question, Ray, and this goes all the way back to you breaking down the young lady who had the
Yeah.
emotional issue.
Yep.
So here's one thing that Cedric has been beating me up with, positively speaking, for a while because it's been a block for me. And he calls me David Copperfield. This is one of his other nicknames for me. And what that means is I'll be going along just fine financially, and because of that, I don't really push hard. But the moment I am in some kind of a financial challenge or struggle, then he says I turn on David Copperfield. I come up with these magical ways to solve the money problem, and then once the problem is solved, then I go back to being dormant. It's kind of like the Hulk versus David Banner. I mean, that would be another way of looking at that. So I wanted to kind of just throw that out there. It is something that's been with me for a long, long time, and it's been incredibly difficult to try to get to the root of the problem because it has caused a roller coaster in my finances over the years. Even though I'm talented enough not to have those problems, I'm still having them. So I wanted to just throw that out there and just maybe get your thoughts on that, man. And I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, man. And, when I acknowledge you for being vulnerable and, and sharing that, man. First question, this is the poke that I mentioned. What did your dad do for a living?
My father worked for G Corporation on the assembly line for 30 years. He was a factory worker.
And how was was he pretty present, or did he have any health challenges?
No health challenges, but when you say present, define that.
Did he spend time with, I don't know if he had siblings or not, but did he spend time with the family, or is he a good family man?
No. My father worked, and then once he got off work, he sat in his room, watched TV, and he was completely not involved in that sense. I mean, it's kind of like this. He was always there, but found a way not to be around, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Did you ever, was there someone in your family that was like a mentor to you, that uncle or anything like that?
No, I never really had any mentors until I got to be an adult. I ran into my first mentor when I went to Columbus.
Got it.
But during my childhood, no mentors.
Okay. Was there? I'm just poking here, man, because
I appreciate it.
Did you ever see any family members did you have any super successful family members, even if they were successful at one point in time?
If you were just defining successful as
wealthy,
professionally,
wealthy, had money.
No. Everybody around me was basically struggling, so I had no examples of that until I really got into network marketing in my 20s.
Yeah. So I'm not sure the root, but one book that I would suggest is The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and what he talks about is upper limit belief, and it was very helpful for me, for sure. And it's been helpful for a lot of people I've suggested that to. So if you find yourself going to a certain level and then it's like, okay, we good enough now, and then, falling off, it's something with the temperature of your ceiling. And that doesn't mean that that's where you're capped with potential, as right? You could blast right through that ceiling, but there's some kind of conclusion you're drawing of, if I go above this, something bad will happen, and it's something you've experienced. It could be personal, because I didn't quickly find any obvious ones there in family dynamics. But there's some conclusion you're drawing of, if I go higher than this. And this happens in all kinds of different areas. So I think I know the reason why, but because I'm not positive, I won't share it. But so I've been losing weight, right? And so my history is I would get up to, at one point I was 255 pounds, right? Which is way larger than I normally have been. But and that was quite a few years ago, but usually in the past, I should say, okay. And notice my language. Anytime I'm sharing a personal accounting of a pattern of mine that I do not want to repeat, I put it in the past. Because I don't want to say, hey, yeah, every time I go here and then I go here, because that means I'm still propagating that pattern. So any pattern that it doesn't serve you, put it in the past. And so in the past, I would, wake up one day and I'm 220 pounds and be like, damn it, this sucks. Ah. And so I would go hard and I would do this and I'd get down to 203. And at 203, I would start bouncing back, right? And it just that happened all the time. It's happened for, probably 10 years, at least, probably 15 years actually. And so I've been losing weight. And about 2 weeks ago, I get down to 203. And so at 203, I have massive stomach aches for the next 3 days. And so what that was, as far as the root cause, I have a suspicion, but I don't know for sure. What that was is my body mind trying to prevent me from going into whatever danger it thought I was going into, right? Not starvation, but there's something it associates with being lower than that weight. And so it started creating illness in me. And on day 2.5 of this crap, I just say, listen, I'm the master, I'm in control, you're not going to stop me. And I literally spoke to my body mind, and and I'm now at 198. And so that was a ceiling. And so I would look at, is there an association with the ceiling that you've gotten to, right? So for some people, they saw their father work themselves into a heart attack. So they draw hard work equals I'm going to, die early on my family, and I don't want to do that. Right. And so there's you're going to find, there's some reason why, and it probably, because I know how much you care about your family and I know how much of a family guy you are. And so there's probably some correlation to, if I make more or if I work harder for longer, then this is going to have a negative reaction on my marriage or on my family. I bet, this is a guess because I wasn't able to pinpoint it, but I'm going to guess it's going to be something around that.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, it's interesting how this journey right now, I'm working on a lot of anxieties that I've never really shared before. But approaching 50, years old, it's like, I want to really get a handle on it. I was just the other day going through some thinking about you actually, about being consistent. And Cedric, said it best earlier. But so I'm at Panera, and I have Trello, and I have a couple of things that I purchased to help me get more organized. And then, bro, my brain, it just felt like it just swole up to the point where I couldn't think. My heart was racing. It's like, what is all of this going on when it comes to just strictly trying to get more organized? It's like it completely shut me down. So It's like, I've got to get to the bottom of this stuff. You know what I mean? So
I'll tell you, when you, and this is, I'm talking to you, but I'm really talking to everyone, right? Everyone's learning from this because you're being vulnerable. So that's amazing. Thank you. And everyone, be sure to thank Larry for this. So when you have, and people just don't get this. And there was a guy out there, Dr. John Sarno, who he helped, he's since passed away, but he wrote a book called Healing Back Pain. And he helped tens of thousands of patients that had, back pain, elbow pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, like their entire life. And he helped them understand that that was all emotion, that it was resentment, guilt, shame, anger, and that they didn't have to have had all those surgeries they had had. And Gay Hendricks talks a little bit about that, not nearly as deep as Sarno, but it's interesting. People think that, just my body, just my aching shoulder. Well, here's what I've felt is I've felt that when I have a new vision, I don't know if I share this or not, but I see, just in the last couple of days, I saw a vision of having these, this may sound weird, but having these 50,000 person communities around the world that are all focused on creating acts around the world of doing things like Wealth Wednesday, doing things like, building infrastructures and things like that. And when I have a new vision that seems really, really big, my shoulders will scream with pain. And that's exactly related to responsibility. Because once you have a vision, you have a choice. Are you going to take that on as a responsibility, or are you just going to dismiss it? And so when, not if, because if you're still on Free Coaching Friday here, then you probably are playing big. The people not playing big that just want to know the latest hashtags, they left, right? They're gone. So now we can talk amongst ourselves. But if you're playing big, which if you're hearing these words, then you most likely are, you are going to have physical sensations. You're going to have shoulder pain. You're going to have gut pain. You're going to have different things that are all protection mechanisms saying, are you sure, man? Like, that's the unknown. And what it's protecting you from is the unknown. So you could be miserable. You could hate your job. You could hate your relationship. You could hate your life, but it's known. You know this abuse. You know this anguish. You know this stuff. It's the unknown that your body mind is so scared of, that your subconscious is so scared of. And so it's just a different scenario. You are going to have physical sensations. You're going to have the brain blow up. You're going to have the stomach upset. You're going to have shoulder pain. And so what I've found to do, what I've learned to do in this scenario, like I meditate, every day. I used to not be able to sit and meditate because my hamstrings would hurt, my back would hurt, my shoulder would hurt. And so it was just like, I would just lay down. Well, if you lay down for most meditations, you're not in alignment. You're not in the best position possible to receive, right? To circulate the light. And so when you have, not if, because if you're on this path and you're playing big, you're going to have physical sensations. When that happens, say, I'm the master and I'm in control. When you say I'm the master and I'm in control, that's not your body speaking. That's your whatever you want to call it. That's your soul speaking. That's your power speaking. And so I'm the master and I'm in control. And I had to say this. Although I still say it, I don't need to anymore. I had to say this when I first started taking cold showers. So I hate cold water, man. And but I knew the cold showers did two things. One, I know that they're good for you, right? They help with circulation and other things. But I also know that anything I can do to master the body mind is helpful for mastery of all other things. And so I don't even remember the last warm shower I took, but it was probably 6 or 7 months ago, something like that. And so what I used to have to do is I would approach the shower. It's super cold, and I'd say, I'm the master, I'm in control. Then I would go under and whatever, and it'd still be cold. Now I just don't even feel it anymore. So I don't have to say it, but I kind of still do. So when you're having that physical sensation, but you're on a path, right? You're on a path of going to a place that's unknown, that is helpful, that is growing you. I'm the master, I'm in control. And that at least has helped me. It's helped some of our clients as well. Is that helpful?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I appreciate it. Thank you for allowing me to share.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Good stuff, man.
You can find more great marketing, prospecting, and recruiting tips just like these over at rayhigdon.com. And remember to pick up your free copy of his 29 sources of network marketing leads. We'll see you over there.